Hey guys, welcome to Kludgy Tech Time. I'm David, and today this is all about the brand new Parrot Anafi. Stick around, we got all the details. Hey guys, well thanks for sticking around. Today we're talking all about the Parrot Anafi. So it is a brand new drone just announced this morning, and I think it's going to check off a lot of the tick boxes that you are going to be looking for, but does it check them all? I don't know. Let's dive right in and talk all about it and see what it's got. All right, guys, well, of course, it's 2018, so there are a few things when we're talking about a good, high-end, solid camera drone that it just has to have, or it's just not going to compete in the market. So what are those? So first off, it's got to have a gimbal, right? Stabilize that camera. Well, yep, check mark. It does have a gimbal. Now, what does it have on that gimbal? It has actually something very interesting. It has a new feature that I haven't seen in other mainstream drones. It has a gimbal that moves the camera 180 degrees in a vertical direction. So not only like all the other cameras that are out there where it can look forward and pitch down to almost 90 degrees, this one also can pitch up 90 degrees to look to the sky. So that's going to open up the opportunity to be able to take videos and pictures of things in a different perspective than you are normal. Now, this is also one of the features that is kind of going to cause it a little bit of problems, okay? And why do I say that? That's because it is only a 2-axis gimbal as far as I can see. The third axis is digitally stabilized just like the DJI Spark is. So yes, it stabilizes the pitch and roll, or pitch and the roll this way, but it does not stabilize the yaw this way. That is digital stabilization. Mechanical stabilization for the pitch and for the roll, but digital stabilization this way. And that, quite honestly, is going to be one of the concerns in my opinion, is because the DJI Spark, that is one of its weak spots. That's a great drone. I love my DJI Spark, but that's one of the weak spots, is when you're trying to yaw, trying to get smooth footage. That digital stabilization just is not fantastic. And so that's something to look out for on this Parrot drone as well. Now, it is a 4K drone. It is, as far as I can tell, 24, 25, and 30 frames per second at 4K. They talk about its HDR. I'm curious to see how well that HDR works out and whether it really does a good job of looking into the shadows as well as being able to expose the brightness, because that's always one of the challenges, right? So you have a beautiful sunset, getting the exposure right where you get the sunset as well as into the shadows, the dark areas. So that's going to be something to look into, to see how well does it really perform in the real world in those dramatic lighting scenes. Now, for still pictures, it's a 21 megapixel sensor. It's a 1/2.4 inch Sony CMOS sensor. So the sensor is roughly the same size as most of the DJI foldable drones. That's a 1/2.3, as well as in the Autel Evo, very similar size as well. It will be able to do RAW images compatible with Adobe's DNG files. And they also talk about a 2.8 inch digital lossless zoom. So that will be something to pay attention to, is that digital zoom, to see how well that really works out. Can you really dive into an image without losing the quality? Now, in terms of flight characteristics, there is a lot of info to cover here. So it has all the safety systems that you would expect in terms of GPS and GLONASS for its positioning systems. Because of that, it has smart return to home. It has a Find My Drone with a beeper to make a noise if you lose your drone, and has a geofencing system that they say that it's user-defined, is what I understand. So you can define your geofencing so it can't go outside of that. But of course, if you have GPS systems, how is it going to be able to adhere to that? So be interesting to see how that really works in the real world. Now, they say that it's got a 2.5 mile range, so that's about 4 kilometers. That is Wi-Fi, and so I think, you know, as with most other drones out there, if you're in a wide open area where there's no interference, you'll probably be able to get that sort of distance. But my guess is, you know, with Wi-Fi, you're not going to get that in a real world suburban or urban setting. So it'll be interesting to see how well that works out. They do have the antenna in the feet of the drone to give them maximum exposure. They say it goes up to 33 miles per hour and is wind resistant up to 31 miles an hour. So they've done a lot of work on the stabilization system, as well as they have worked on making it so that it is super quiet. They say it's one of the quietest drones of its size out on the market. So it'll be interesting to see how well that works out, because there are some drones out there that are pretty loud, and from my perspective, you know, you don't want that attention brought on yourself. So quiet drones are always good. They do talk about it having smart capabilities in terms of doing dronies and doing tracking shots and doing dolly zooms, which I think is one of those where you pull out, but it's like zooming in, so you get kind of that cool effect, as well as they talk about cine shots and slow motion and hyperlapse. So there's going to be several different modes. It'll be interesting to see how well those work and whether they compete with some of the other options that are out there on the market. One of the things I think they've done a fantastic job on is the charging system. You don't have to buy special chargers just for this device. You can use your existing USB charging blocks and USB-C charging cables and stuff that you already have for your phones and your action cameras and your tablets and your wireless headphones and all that kind of stuff. Thank you very much, Parrot. I mentioned earlier it is 320 grams. That is very close to the DJI Spark. The DJI Spark is listed at 300 grams. The DJI Mavic Air, I think, is somewhere just over 500 grams. So this being at 320 is nice and small, lightweight. It's getting close to that magic 250 gram weight that I think a lot of people are really interested in. I can't wait to see a drone of this caliber that is below 250 grams. Only 70 grams to go. To get it down to that weight, they used carbon fiber reinforced structure with hollow glass beads inside of it, and that helps to kind of keep the weight down, but help to keep it to be nice and strong to protect it. Now, we talked about the gimbal in the first part of this video, but one of the things that's also great about this is that it also has some protection for the gimbal. There, you'll see in this picture right here, there are some arms that kind of stick out that give some protection in a crash for the gimbal, which of course is one of the downsides of some of the other gimbal drones that are out there. You have that gimbal just dangling out there in front, ready to crash into anything and everything, and of course it gets broken, dead, and gone. So what do you guys think? Does that check off all the boxes for you in order to want to buy it? For me, it checks off almost all the boxes except for two that are kind of big concerns in my area. It's 2018, and not having object avoidance is a bit of an issue. Pretty much all the other main competition that's out there in this kind of price range for a camera system is going to have object avoidance. All the DJI drones do. The Autel Evo that's going to be out in the next week or so probably is going to have it. It's a bit of a concern. Throwing $700 up in the air and just trusting myself with no help from digital systems is a bit of a concern. Now, the second one is that yaw. Only having digital stabilization in that yaw movement is maybe a bit of an issue. So that's one to kind of keep an eye out for. Other than that, I think it ticks off most of the boxes, assuming that it performs as expected. As we see on paper, all the specs that we see look really good. Those two, I think, are maybe a bit of a concern. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about this. What do you guys think? Is this something that ticks off all the boxes for you guys, or there's just no way? Well, thanks for watching, guys. I look forward to seeing this in the real life. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys haven't already subscribed to the channel, love to have you a part of it. Hit that little bell next to it so you know when new videos are coming out. And I hope to see you on another one. Leave me some comments, hit that like, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.